It's time to chill out and get ready for a mediocre Q&A live stream. If you're old enough, grab yourself your favorite adult beverage, and if you're not, stick with apple juice. Put your feet up and relax. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the chat. And now let's cue up the intro music. Yo, what is up, everybody? I hope you guys are doing well. Let's play with the microphone here. Yeah, I screwed that one up. My microphone's all jacked up right now. Let's see if I can fix this. That's a little better. All right. So I hope you guys are doing well. Welcome to the HVACR videos live stream. A lot of craziness going on over here this Labor Day weekend. We are slammed at work. It is insane right now. Just busy. And we're getting this heat wave going through. And this is one of those weekends where I didn't really get a lot of video footage. I think I filmed like one or two videos, but no, one video, I think. But I actually wasn't on call. My apprentice was. And it's not, I don't think it's really fair to call him my apprentice anymore because he's really rolling on his own. He has been rolling on his own for a while now. So, yeah, I guess I just need to call him a service technician, right? He's a really good guy, but he's kicking butt and killing it this weekend. And he has been working his butt off. Even had a service call right now because we're getting a heat wave. It's like, it's ranging like 110, 113 on the roof, something like that. And we're just having equipment that is just falling off the map. And, you know, the interesting thing with that is that in my head, I'm like, why now? Why all of a sudden now? Like, we've had 115-degree days before. We've had this stuff before, but a lot of this equipment is just old and beat down. You know, a lot of the equipment that's really fallen off in its face is old units from 2003, 2002, carrier units. And I will say something. I've been having a heck of a time. What I've noticed, and a lot of people have said this, and I knew that there was going to be repercussions from it, but a lot of the 407C conversions are falling on their face right now. Now, the ones that are typically falling on their face is fixed orifice carrier package units with 407C. Every unit that I've converted to 407C, I have water running on the condensers right now because of this weekend. Everything just fell on its face, and we're tripping breakers. What I find is one of the units, I just did a conversion. I haven't even released a video on it, but I just did a conversion a couple weeks ago. 2 compressors, evaporator, and 407C in both compressors, and it's tripping the breaker. And at first I'm like, what the heck's going on, you know? And I go through it, and no, it's pulling minimum circuit amps, or right at the you know, whatever. It's pulling right at 40 amps. And I think minimum circuit size is right at 40 amps. But what I notice, I mean, when you put your gauges on there, yeah, I was running high pressures, but when you miss the condensers, someone says that I'm lagging. Am I lagging in the chat right now, guys? Oh, yeah, that's a bummer if I'm lagging. Sorry, guys. I don't know why it's lagging. Go figure, huh? Huh. Yeah, I don't really have any control over that. The internet. Oh, yeah, I see that it says the bit rate's low. And now it says excellent connection. So I'm going to keep powering through this. If it's messed up, it's messed up. You guys, you're not going to hurt my feelings if you guys click out. So thank you, Dave, for texting me. And people in the chat were saying that the lag. Yeah, I don't know why there's a lag. Yeah, that's weird. It's showing it good now. Yeah. It's probably the heat. Yeah, we're going through a massive heat wave right now. So like I said, I'm going to keep talking. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You're not going to hurt my feelings if you guys bounce. But yeah, we are just this heat wave's just killing it right now. So with the 407C on the package units, it is just falling on its face. It's just horrible right now. I don't know. You know, it's a bummer. But you know, whatever. It is what it is. So we've got misting devices. This weekend we probably put, let me think, 4, 8. I think we have close to 10 water hoses ran on the roof, running on walk-in coolers, walk-in freezers, air conditioners, and it's all old equipment. It's just can't handle this heat wave that we're having. It's supposed to cool down by next weekend, of all things. But got to give it to my service technician. He's been killing it this weekend. He's doing great. And yeah, let's see. Hope he will continue at the same spot. I've been thinking about getting... Okay, I'm reading through the chat right now. Yeah, I see that the lag. That's a bummer. That's a very big bummer. So the freeze frame makes perfect for thumbnails. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the stream, guys. I don't... Oh, yeah, I see it jumping. That's weird. Yeah, I do see it jumping on the... Yeah, I think that my stream's about to die, guys. I think what I'm going to have to do is probably kill it, and we're probably going to have to try to revisit it this week, is what I'm thinking, because I'm seeing it. It's really dragging right now. And yeah, this is a bummer. Yeah, no lag on Facebook, huh? That's weird. Yeah, that's very interesting. That's a bummer that it's doing that. Huh. Well, I'll just keep going. So in the I'm scrolling through this. I apologize about the lag, guys. There's not much I can do. It's like I said, the heat wave is just messing with it. So I wanted to talk about something, and this will post as a video too later. So, you know, if it doesn't work, yeah, it'll post as a video. So if it doesn't work, I'll re-upload the video or something. So I wanted to talk about something that I'm dealing with today. So I have another service technician on call, and, you know, he's going crazy right now doing everything, and he's doing a great job. But I want to talk about my anxiety. My anxiety is just killing me, and I struggle with bad anxiety, really bad. It's just something that happens. I've gone to the doctor for issues and different things in the past, and I've just kind of tried to learn to deal with things. And one of the things I want to talk about is my wife and I celebrated our 17th wedding anniversary on Saturday. And, you know, this trade in general has a really high divorce rate, but I'm not going to necessarily blame it on the trade, okay? I'm going to blame it on flawed people, okay? Because in the past, I used to bottle up my emotions, my feelings, my anxiety, and everything, and I didn't really share it with my wife. But unfortunately, my wife would see it when I would explode, when I would get angry. She would definitely see it. So I've since learned to communicate better. Okay. So I'm not saying I'm any better than anybody else, because statistically, you know, and surely for what my wife has had to deal with in the past, I wouldn't blame her if she wouldn't deal with it anymore. I mean, you know, me being a person that just bottled everything up and didn't talk about anything, that definitely couldn't have been good for her. Okay. It probably had to suck. I know it sucked for her. So I got help. I talked to a doctor. I saw a therapist. I worked on a lot of things. I worked out a lot of mommy issues and different stuff like that, and learned that I had to cope with certain things. And I also had to learn to understand that I'm never going to get rid of my anxiety. I'm never going to get rid of my anger and different things like that. You know, it's just a matter of communication. So if you ask me what the secret to our marriage is communication. It's talking about things. So when I get angry, I try to talk, but also at the same time, I try to be a rational person. And when she, you know, tries to give me advice that doesn't make sense, I take a deep breath, I bite my tongue, and I explain to her, okay, that won't really work. You know, this is that, you know, and this, so it's really just what works for us is communication. I'm not saying that's the answer for everybody, but that has worked for us very well. But everybody out there, you guys have to work on that stuff. It's not something that just magically happens, okay? You know, there's times that she gets angry, there's times that I get angry, and we just have to communicate about it, okay? But this trade in general, a lot of times we have issues, right? You hear that there's a really high divorce rate. You hear that, I will see people in Facebook groups, and I will hear people say, you know, oh, you know, they can't deal with the trade. It's not that they can't deal with the trade. It's that we need to communicate about what's going on, you know? So what we try to do, what works for us is, you know, during the day, for the most part, when my wife knows that I'm super busy, she doesn't call me very much during the day. She kind of waits for me to call her, and every opportunity that I get, even if it's for a 1-minute conversation, I try to give her a call in a slow break when I'm driving or something. I just give her a call and we talk for a few minutes. Just, hey, this is a crazy day. Trying to give her a heads up. My day is going to be long, you know, that kind of stuff. So that seems to work very well for us, is just communicating and talking through things. Okay. But the biggest thing is I used to keep everything from her, because I used to, in my head, think that I didn't want to bore her with the trade related stuff. I didn't want to bore her with work related issues and anger. But the truth of the matter is that I run a business and this is my life. So if I wasn't to bore my wife with the work and the trade talk and the different stuff, what would I talk about? Because this is a giant portion of my life, and this is our livelihood. This is how we survive. You know, and then obviously I turned the videos into something. So I learned that I have to communicate that stuff with her. And my idea that I was trying to save her from boring work talk, it just doesn't really work, because that's me. Right? I'm immersed in this trade. Now, I'm not saying that everybody out there has to be totally immersed in the trade. You don't have to be head over heels like I am in the trade. That's just how my brain works. I'm hyper focused. I'm sure there's some diagnosis for my issues that I have, right? I'm sure there is. I know a lot of stuff is undiagnosed with me, but I've just learned to live with it. And communication is the biggest thing that helps us in dealing with those crazy times. So, I want to get to the chat real quick. Let's see. If you have any questions or anything that you want me to talk about, put them in the chat, put them in caps lock. I'm going to try to get to them. I'm sorry if it's still lagging. I don't know. Oh, it says no more lag. Okay. Yeah. I don't know what the heck that was about. I wonder though. I wonder if it has something to do with, no, I was going to say, because I'm actually uploading a video right now too. So I was curious if it had something to do with the fact that I was uploading a video. I finally filmed the intro video to the HVACR. I don't know what I'm calling it yet, but my home system replacement. So if you guys haven't been watching the channel, if you don't know what's going on, I've been talking about it a little bit here and there. I am replacing the air conditioner in my house, and I just filmed like the first part of the series, which is literally just the walkthrough, me showing how crazy stupid my system is. It is horrible, guys. It's oversized. Right? I live in Southern California, and I have a 100,000 BTU furnace on my system. Now, this has been there since I moved in. I've just always dealt with it. But to say that we have really high cycle times is an understatement. It's insane. So, but I filmed the intro, so that'll be posting soon, possibly this week. Up and coming, we have some new stuff coming out. I am actually going out to Georgia. Friday morning, super early. I've got just a turnaround trip. I'm flying out Friday morning and I'm flying home Sunday morning. And I got a super action-packed weekend going out to Heatcraft Refrigeration. Gonna be filming some stuff with them, going through the factory, doing some interviews. We have some cool stuff in the works, so that'll be cool. So stay tuned for that. That'll be coming soon. And then, but yeah, the house project's kind of been on my mind. I've been researching a lot, and it's really interesting because I'm having to get into the whole building performance side of things. Now, let me say that I have such a huge amount of respect for the home performance guys that truly know their stuff, because I've been taking a crash course on home performance and I'm only scratching the surface and my head hurts. Okay. But luckily I have friends in high places. I was lucky enough to have an hour and a half class with Steve Rogers from the Energy Conservatory this last Friday before the overtime show. So it's super cool that I was able to reach out to these people. But the cool thing, you know, what I'm trying to do with this series is obviously replace the air conditioner in my house. Okay. But at the same time, I figured that it'd be kind of fun if you guys learn with me. Now, I'm not going to literally subject you to everything that I'm trying to learn, but if I can just open a few people's eyes to the idea of evaluating the envelope of your house before replacing an air conditioner, hey, maybe I've succeeded in something, right? And it seems that the friends that I've made with certain people and certain companies, they're interested in this idea too. So stay tuned, because we have all kinds of cool tools that I've never used before: blower doors, duct blasters, flow hoods, true flow grids, Retrotech sending a bunch of stuff. Like it's really cool that these people want to be part of this project. So, but I'm going to try as best as I can to let you guys learn about this stuff at the same time as I'm learning about it. But again, I have so much respect for the people in the high performance contracting stuff, because it's really, really cool. And then on top of that, just trying to learn the little bit of knowledge that I'm going to be able to learn from this. And then to think in my head that some companies out there actually specialize in high performance contracting and do envelope testing, and that's their bread and butter. And it's really interesting because the amount of money you have to put into that with the tools and the different things, and you know, not a lot of people can afford to, you know, air seal their house and do these different things. So it's a very interesting. I have a lot of respect for the guys that are doing that on a regular, and it's really interesting that they have the customer base that's willing to pay for that. So stay tuned. That'll be kind of fun. Having lots of fun with it. So let's see what else we got going on in here. Reading through the chat right now. Labor Day weekend. Obviously, happy Labor Day to everybody. It was a good weekend for me. For the people just coming in, it was my wedding anniversary, so it was really nice. Yeah, Alaska. That's probably the consideration that people did. I have a 4-ton cooling system on my house, and it does not require a 4-ton. We've done some, and I don't want to spoil everything, but it doesn't require a 410. So yeah, it's a bit oversized. So let's see what else we got going on in the chat. There should be an installation and operation manual, or call your local rep and ask for a PDF. I don't know. I don't know what that's in reference to. I'm assuming he's answering someone's question in there, but let's see what else we got going on in here. How are... Oh, right on. Thank you very much, man. It's really interesting to see people from other countries watching these videos and these live streams too. So very, very cool. Let's go through this. I got a list of things to talk about. It looks like I might be starting to lag here again in a minute. So, you know, I released a video this week about dirty restaurants, and it was a dirty restaurant in general. And my gosh, the comments that come in. I kind of knew that was coming. And yes, I know that the title was kind of funny. The first time I made one of those titles that had like innuendo or something in it, it was an accident, and I saw the reaction. So when I get an opportunity, I like to throw a silly title in there every once in a while. So I just have fun with it. But, you know, when it comes to the dirty restaurants and stuff, first and foremost, I'm going to tell you guys right now that it is not my responsibility to call the authorities, to do any of that stuff. I bring it to management. And what I will tell you is that what you guys don't understand is I work in... Let me just do the math right now. Okay, so let's see, 38 and then 12 and then 12. I work in probably close to 70 different restaurants on a regular, okay? And every restaurant in general is always going to have some sort of an issue, whether it be cleaning, whether it be a pest problem, insects, or something like that, okay? If someone tells you that their restaurant doesn't have any of those issues, it's not true, okay? It's everywhere. It's what the restaurants do about it, okay? Now, so the point I'm trying to make is you guys see a single video of me showing a disgusting reach-in cooler, but you don't see the emails that I send to the corporate office and the repercussions of those emails and what the restaurant has to do to remedy those issues after the fact, okay? So, you know, I guess it's probably not fair. And that's one of the reasons why I don't disclose restaurant names or anything like that, because I got to protect my customers, but at the same time, you know, what the general public thinks is disgusting, oftentimes they're not even understanding of what can be completely happening in these restaurants, okay? For the most part, I don't work in any crazy, dirty restaurants. Occasionally you see something gross and yeah, I get a little irritated. But if I saw that day after day after day after day, then yeah, I'd have to start considering letting a restaurant go, because if a restaurants are constantly that dirty, then are they really going to pay their bills and different stuff like that? And we have let customers go that used to be disgusting. Trust me, there's some restaurants like, oh my gosh, okay? Ignorance is bliss when you're a refrigeration mechanic. It really is. But let's get with this right now. Number one, I still get ice when I go out to restaurants. Okay, guys? I think I made a Instagram post or something like that maybe a couple months ago where I was at Subway and I got a soda with ice, okay? You guys, that stuff that you see in the water is just an accumulation of stuff that's naturally in the water. Now, at Subways, that's yeast and different things inside their ice machines that tends to make them gross. But in general, I still get ice when I go places. I still get drinks. I don't really let that stuff get to me too much, okay? And you know, I see the craziest stuff, but I still eat out and do different things. Now, I don't eat out at the type of restaurants that I work at very much, but it's not because they're gross. It's just because as I've gotten older, I don't really like that kind of food anymore, like the chain restaurant kind of food. I mean, it's occasional that I'll go to a certain chain restaurant or something, but for the most part, we like to go to mom and pop, unique style restaurants. My wife and I went to like a kind of a whiskey bar this weekend in like a little college town, and they have really good food and like a really high-end bar. We like to do that kind of stuff. Or we'll take the kids to, you know, a unique Thai food place or something like that. So when we do go out to eat, you know, we like to go to something unique where we get the best bang for our buck, okay? Nothing against the other restaurants. It's just I've grown up eating in, you know, the typical chain restaurants my entire life. And, you know, it kind of gets old. What really started it was when I would come home from work and my daughter would say, hey, Dad, I want to go to the insert name of whatever restaurant I was working at. She's like, I want to go there for dinner. And it's like, I just went there and they just gave me food. I just had that for lunch. Like, you know, so what actually started happening was I stopped accepting food to the restaurants I was working in. Not because I don't like them, but just because when I went home, I didn't want to be burnt out on that kind of food. And then again, as we get older and older, we just like more unique type restaurants. So, you know, we'll go to like a unique restaurant instead of just a chain restaurant. But that's just what works for us, you know. Let me cross that off the list. And then let's have a look at the chat here. Let's see. Surprised the factory isn't doing the startup. Oh, okay. I see you're talking about something else. Reading up through in here. How do you check for the winter charge? I mentioned on a previous video that using a heat source on the receiver. Okay, so let's talk about this. First and foremost, why do we need a winter charge or a flooded charge? Okay, let me explain what a winter charge means. And unfortunately, that term is probably going to have to go away, just like the term drop-in refrigerant has kind of been phased out too, because people are misusing the term, okay? And they're misunderstanding the term. The term winter charge is referring to the flooded charge, the extra refrigerant needed that a system that has a head pressure control valve has, okay? Or needs. And it's not, if the system was designed properly, you do not remove the winter charge in the summer and then add it back in the winter. You put the refrigerant in the system and it stays in the system from winter to summer if your system's designed properly. So unfortunately, there's a lot of misinformation out there and people think that winter charge simply means that you go out and you remove it, you know, throughout the year when it doesn't need to be used. And that's not the term. Flooded charge is a better description of what we should be saying is flooded charge. Okay, so anyways, a head pressure control valve is there to maintain a pressure differential across an expansion valve. It's mainly needed in a thermostatically controlled, a TXV, thermostatically controlled expansion valve, but they still are needed in electronic expansion valves too. But electronic expansion valves have a little more control and they can handle a little bit less. You know, they don't need a head pressure control valve as much, okay? But still, I'm getting off on a tangent there. But with them, we have to add extra refrigerant. That extra refrigerant can be difficult to figure out in certain situations when you're working on a system. So let's just say, for instance, that I go to a restaurant and I can visibly see oil all over the compressor. And really quickly, I can find a leak on a pressure control or a Schrader valve or something like that, okay? If the system has a head pressure control valve, it is a critically charged system now, okay? And with that being said, if refrigerant leaked out, but it's not necessarily enough to make the sight glass start flashing yet, okay? I'm going deep in this one. How do we know how much refrigerant was lost, okay? Now, if you have a tube and fin condenser, that's a copper tube with just, steel or aluminum fins, we can calculate very easily the internal volume of that condenser, and we can say with certainty that for this system to operate in the particular ambient that it operates in, we need this much extra refrigerant on top of the normal charge to be in the system. But if it has a leak and we're not clearly seeing it flashing yet, then how do we know how much refrigerant has leaked out? That is something that happens quite often to me. In that situation, it can be very helpful if you know exactly what the liquid level should be in that receiver when it is pumped down. Now, understand something, the liquid level will fluctuate a little bit seasonally. So from the summer to the winter, the liquid level in a pump down receiver will go up and down, right? Because when the temperature changes, you're going to have a transformation from vapor to liquid, right? So the liquid level will change a little bit. But, what we can do is if we can figure out how to calculate the proper charge for the system, we can add that, and then we can mark the liquid level. All right. You don't ever want the liquid level to be filled past the 3/4 mark on a receiver because you have to have room for expansion. Okay. But with that being said, if we can get to a point where we know we have enough refrigerant in the system, then we pump the system down and we check the liquid level. Then for the most part, throughout the year, if you ever run into that weird situation, you can add refrigerant and just keep checking it and getting the liquid level up to where it should be, where it's marked at, right? But the best way to find the proper refrigerant charge is to call the manufacturer and weigh it in, if possible. If you can't get a hold of them, then use the Sporlan 90-30-1 method to calculate the proper flooded charge, then add it, okay? Another way, this is very, very rare, but you can go out to that restaurant on the coldest day of the year and you can add the proper charge by clearing the sight glass, okay? So when a head pressure control valve bypasses, what it does is it floods the condenser and it simulates someone standing in front of the condenser and blocking it off with cardboard. It drives the head pressure up, but it needs extra refrigerant, so that way when the vapor refrigerant that's coming directly from the compressor dumps on top of the liquid refrigerant in the receiver that's stored in there, the flooded charge, then it can push that down, and then the change from the vapor keeps happening as the temperature drops in the receiver, and you have enough gas in there, okay? But if you can mark that level, then it makes it easier for you the next time you need to go work on it. So what I would suggest you do is take a heat producing device. Now, why do I say heat producing device? Because I don't want a bunch of dummies that shouldn't be touching something to go out there and try to heat up a receiver with something that's really, really hot that can rupture the receiver, okay? So you got to kind of do some math in yourself. Pay attention to some of my videos. You might just see a heat producing device. Hey, someone in the chat right now, say what the heat producing device is, okay? I'm just not going to go out there, right? But everybody in the chat will say it right now. But you take a heat producing device, you have to be smart about it. And the reason why I say you have to be smart is because receivers have high temperature, high pressure relief valves on them, right? They have soft plugs, right? They can have a mechanical relief valve. And if you heat one of those up, you can get the pressures hot enough and the temperature hot enough that you can rupture that pressure relief, okay? So you got to be smart about this. But if you pump the system down, take a heat producing device, 2 or 3 passes from the bottom of the top of the receiver, then take the back of your fingers and slowly and carefully move them up. And when you feel a drastic temperature difference on the body of that receiver, you have now just found your liquid level, because that's the point at which the liquid and the vapor meet. It'll be burning hot, and then you can kind of run your fingers down a little bit more and kind of go back up. If you get a thermal imaging camera, it makes it even easier to see the liquid level. You pump it down, up and down on the receiver, and then just take that thermal imaging camera and look, and you'll see the mark exactly, okay? And then you can fill it up to the where you had it left before, all right? But yeah, it's a heat producing device, just kind of heat up and down. You got to use your brain. But again, the people in the chat, they can say it right now. There you go, right? Everybody in the chat said it. It's the right answer's in there, but you just got to be careful about it, okay? All right, let's see what else we got going on in the chat. Yeah, I did. Jason Johnson said that if you go into my last video, you can see a heat-producing device sitting on the roof. I mean, now that someone finally sees it, like, think about this. So I actually have left that heat-producing device many times on the floor in my videos, right? And people that don't understand what I'm doing, they don't know what I'm talking about. They'll go back in the videos, and you're going to find there's probably at least 50 videos where that heat-producing device is actually in the video. Let's see what else we got going on here. Let me see. So... let's go ahead and get rid of that right there. Cool. Let's see what else we got going on here. Only refrigerants with larger glide. 410 is a blend, but near azeotropic. Let's see. Any tips for starting an HVAC business? Jacob, before you start a business, I strongly encourage you, for the benefit of yourself and for the benefit of all your competitors and your potential customers, that you are an expert in the trade of the business you are about to start, okay? I'm going to say, and I'm sorry if I'm offending you guys right now, but there is a lot of white shirt companies out there that do residential air conditioning that the business owners have absolutely, positively nothing to do with the industry. They don't understand anything about the industry, and they're actually ruining this industry right now. Now, not all of them, but there's a good portion of them that are hurting the industry, okay? Because they don't understand how HVAC works, and it just creates problems, okay? And customers get ripped off and all kinds of things. But my advice to you for starting a business is know your craft really well before you even go down that path, okay? The next thing, take some business classes, do some reading, find proper information on how to run a business, and read up and study it for a long time before you try to start a business. I am a mediocre service technician that can fumble my way through most of the light commercial refrigeration issues, okay? But I am not a perfect businessman. I don't run this business by myself. My dad started this business and we run it together, okay? Now he doesn't work anymore, hasn't worked for many years, but if I didn't have him, my business would be a failure. Okay, I've learned to be a service tech, and I'm every day I'm learning to be a better business owner. The one thing I will say about a business owner, what I'm finding, what has been truth for me, I'm not saying this is the same for everybody, but the better business, I'm becoming a better business owner more and more every day. But what I'm starting to realize is that this business is run the way that, you know, I want it to be run, and as I'd want to work for someone else who runs a business too, okay? We're getting better and better. I'm more concerned about quality and integrity than I am about making money. Now, yes, there's bad things about that, but I'm in this to fix things, to make my customers happy, and to feel satisfied because I did a good job. And money is part of that, but my craft is the biggest part. So if you can be, you know, really, really good at fixing things, and you learn to be, you know, what needs to be known about running a business and stuff, but then don't try to be the best. Don't try to compete with everybody else. Just be you, right? Price yourself for the way that you need to be priced to live the lifestyle you want to live, okay? Don't look at everybody and say, well, he's at this much, I need to be, you know, at the exact same level as him. Don't do that. Just do what works for your business. Sometimes it may be more, sometimes it may be less, but have fun with it. Now, this may be bad and I may be regretting this, but right now, like, I was just thinking about it this weekend, or actually last weekend, because it was a little slow last weekend. And I was like, man, should I pick up more customers? And I'm like, no, because I like my customer base. You know, I don't want to have to work all the time. My guys don't want to work 60 to 80 hours a week. They don't want that, okay? They want 40 to 60 hours a week, right? And that's what I'm realizing. So it's not just about money. It's about keeping my employees happy, keeping my customers happy. And yes, I need to make a profit somewhere in there too, okay? So I don't know if any of that answers your question about starting a business, but just do a lot of research, bud. All right, let's see what else we got going in here. Seeing what I'm missing in here. I see Clive's in here. Big Clive. Right on. How you doing, Clive? Haven't seen you in a while. We need to have you on the overtime show. I think you were there recently when I wasn't there, weren't you? Maybe. Yeah, receivers are getting bigger and bigger. I'm reading through the chat right now, trying to catch up. What's the best practice temperature for a server room or data center? Luke, that really depends on the equipment you have in there, and you need to talk to the engineers that designed it, okay? Because I'm not an expert. Now, there's some people that do server stuff in here. I believe, Alaska, do you do the heavy commercial? I think you might. I can't remember. And then I know Jason Johnson, Will Speed, they all do some of the heavy commercial where they might work in server rooms and stuff. You know, I'm sure there's general rules of thumb, but it really depends on the type of equipment you have and the environment it's being installed in, okay? But I will say that when you're working on server rooms and stuff, humidity is like huge. That has to be controlled within tenths of degrees. It has to be perfect, because when you have that much electronic equipment, you're susceptible to static issues and different things like that. So humidity is a huge, huge issue for sure. Okay, but definitely talk to one of the guys in the chat. They can probably give you some guidance or some information for sure. How do I manage equipment for the employees with purchasing and such? Jacob, I probably shouldn't say this, and I probably shouldn't go out there, but we run our business like a family, okay? And I don't require my employees to call in for POs. I trust my employees, okay? So, you know, the guys buy what they need to buy. And if they buy something that, yes, we do look at the receipts, you know, if we see, hey, why did you buy this? That's not the type that we use. It's an education moment, okay? It's not a trust issue, right? Because if I can't trust my employees, he's fired. So, you know, I don't want to go to that. So I give them trust. So we give recommendations on what they should have in their trucks, but if they buy something and they can justify to why they need it, I'm fine with it, okay? It doesn't always have to be my way. But I will say, I did say this to an employee a long time ago, and there is truth in this. It doesn't have to be my way, but it better be the same result and or better than the way that I was going to do it. Okay, so if that makes sense, you can go about getting to the solution a different way as long as you get to the same solution, you know, with the same time frame and all that stuff. I'm fine with my guys doing things differently than I tell them to do it, okay? But, you know, as far as equipment and different things like that, when my guys need new tools, they tell me, and they get new tools if it's something that we're paying for. We provide the big boy tools to our guys, and we give them a tool stipend. And, you know, we expect them to bring a cordless drill and basic hand tools, okay? But recovery machines, vacuum pumps, leak detectors, all the specialty tools, that's on the company, okay? Torches, all that stuff, because I want them using what I want them to be using, high quality stuff, right? And it has happened in the past where, you know, one of my employees says, hey, you know, for whatever reason, he came up on a bunch of refrigeration and air conditioning parts from like a swap meet or something like that, or something. I don't remember what exactly happened, but he's like, I have all these parts. He goes, I don't even want to sell them to you. You could just have them. Can I just, you know, start giving these to the customers or whatever? And no, you can't, because I need it to be the parts that I can stand behind, you know, like that's what I had to tell him. And it's not that, you know, we expect our customers to be taken care of, and it better be the same way, you know, that I would get there. If that makes sense. I don't know if that's making sense to you guys. I'm going to look on my page right here. I do want to say, you know, I have a couple different partners that I work with on this channel. Sporlan has been my go-to since the beginning, refrigeration technologies, and I do a little bit of work here and there with a couple other people. Okay. Now, I am a pain in the ass. Okay. So let me tell you this, you know, I appreciate the fact that the agreement that I have with Sporlan and refrigeration technologies and the other people that I work with, You know, I appreciate the fact that they want to work with me because I know the struggles they have to go through to work with me because I won't do so many things, you know? So the point I'm trying to get at is I do have to say thank you so very much to the people that I have worked with. Right now, it's Sporlin, it's Refrigeration Technologies, it's Heatcraft Refrigeration, and it's Field Piece Instruments, okay? But there's been other people in the past too. But right now, that's the only active stuff I'm doing. And I appreciate the fact that they're companies that want to stand behind their stuff. They're, you know, for instance, like, you know, I'm going to be releasing a video for Field Piece, right, on a new tool. And this was talked about 6 months ago, right? So it was prepared, and they said, okay, well, time constraints are going to be, you know, tight, and we're going to get you the tool by this time, you know, so we need a video within a couple weeks. And I was like, no, it's not happening. I need that tool for at least a month before I'm going to make a video about it, right? Because I have to make sure that it's something that I want to do. So the point that I'm trying to make, and they were cool with that. They understood it and they appreciate that, right? I've worked with other people in the past where, you know, they want me to try something. They want me to market something one way. And I'm like, nah, not really the way I want to do it. Sorry, you know? But they've, you know, decided, hey, we still want to work with you. So anyways, again, going off on a tangent, but I do want to say thank you. And if you guys do see me promoting someone's product, it's because I truly do like it. Okay. You know, I may not use it every single day, but I truly do like it. Right. So I just don't ever want to come across as someone just pushing crap down people's throats because someone paid me. That's not how I want to do this. I don't ever want the videos to become a job. I want them to be a hobby and something fun. The moment they become a job, it's just like, what's the point? I'm not having fun with it. Okay. So the only way that I'm going to keep doing this channel is by having fun. But I hope that you understand that when I do talk about someone, it's because I do like their products. Okay. All right. Let's see what else we got in the chat. Yeah, Mike B. No, it is not the combustion analyzer. They asked me and I said no, because I have no business pushing a combustion analyzer. That's a perfect example. And they were fine with that. When I explained, you know, at first they're like, can you do this? And I'm like, no, you know, but they don't get upset. They're like, oh, he makes a good point. Yeah, it wouldn't make sense for me to get a combustion analyzer in my hand. I don't work on heaters very much at all. Okay. So it's mostly refrigeration. So, you know, that's something I'm like, no, I'm not going to just push a product, you know? And they, again, were super like, yeah, we understand, you know? Let me see what else we got in here. You hope that, Jacob says, you hope that I see your business in the future residing in Oklahoma. Right on, man. Keep in touch for sure. Shoot me an email. You guys, if I miss your guys' questions, if, you know, you say something in here that I, don't get to, feel free to send me an email, right? hvacrvideos@gmail.com. Will Speed, thank you so very much for that super chat. You did not need to do that, but thank you. But he does raise a good point. We have 162 people watching right now and only 78 likes. So please smash the like button, guys. But again, thanks, buddy. I really appreciate that. Let me see what else. Which thermal imager is the best? SK. I have tried out a few different thermal imagers, a FLIR C2 at the time, which is a handheld camera, a Seek Shot Pro, which I have somewhere around here. I don't know where it is, and a FLIR 1 Pro. For me, what's worked the best is the FLIR 1 Pro. It's super light. It plugs in the bottom of your phone. It's relatively inexpensive, and it uses the processing power of your phone, and then it saves the images and or video and audio files on your phone. Between the FLIR C2 and the Seek Shot Pro, neither of those did audio and video. And audio and video works for my channel, right? So I like the FLIR 1 Pro. It works good for me now. Now, there's a lot of other different thermal imaging cameras, but, you know, those are the ones that worked for me. And there was nothing wrong with the C2 and the Seek Shot Pro. They were both good cameras. They both had their weird quirks. The Seek Shot Pro, like, it just constantly, like, reloads. Like, it's constantly recalibrating and like reloading, and it's like a loud audible sound. The FLIR C2 does something similar, but the audio, I'm sorry, but the images and, you know, that it shows are great. They're all great. So and you know, the cool thing is we have a lot of people coming into the thermal imaging camera space right now, and whenever that happens, that drives competition and that drives innovation. So I'm happy for this. So speaking of tools right now, forgive me if I butcher your name, but I believe your name is Mahfouz or Mahfouz. one of the two, I hope, if I pronounced it correctly, asked me a question. What is the feature difference on a field piece digital manifold between the S-Man 380V and the S-Man 480V? Actually, it's really simple. It's one of them has 4 gauge ports or hose ports on it, and one of them has 3. So the 4 port has a micron gauge built into it, and it has an evacuation port. And then the 3 port, I don't think has a micron gauge, but it only has 3 hoses on it. Okay. But the other digital features and everything else is the same. So, you know, I prefer a 4 port. I don't use it very much, but it is nice to have it when it's, you know, works. And the size difference isn't all that much. So for me, the extra $100 or whatever it is for the 4 port is always how I've ran, just so I had the option. But if you guys go through probably 90% of my videos, you'll see a 4 port manifold with no hoses on the vacuum port, because I don't use it that much, but it is awesome when I do get to use it. Read through my chat, make sure everything's good. Or hold on just a second, check my phone real quick. Okay, cool. Billy sent a really nice, okay, so this is a point I wanted to make. Billy sent a really, really nice email, and reading through this chat right now. Oh, okay. And he said that, I'm paraphrasing, that he said that, you know, I was one of the best technicians that he sees on YouTube or something. And I don't like to talk about this stuff very much, okay? But the point I'm trying to make, Billy, thank you very much. That was a very flattering email, okay? But the point I want to make is I don't see myself as anything special. I realize I'm not stupid, okay? I realize that I know how to work on things, and I figured a few things out. But I don't see myself as someone special, right? I'm just a normal person. This is just how I am. So I'm just trying to do my best all the time. So if there's any secret to whatever you see in my videos or whatever, and again, thank you very much, it's just the fact that, you know, I'm trying my best, and I realize that I'm never going to be perfect. So I'm trying. Come here, buddy. My little buddy's right here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Oh, yes. This is my buddy, Luke. Hi, buddy. Say hi to everybody. All right, come on. Yes. Get down. All right. That's my doggy, Luke. He is just a little over 1 year old. He's a silver Labrador Retriever. But yeah, Billy, I'm flawed just like everyone else. You know, I'm just trying my best. That's all. Okay. So thank you. It's very nice to get a thing like that from you, but you know, I just don't see it that way. All right, let's see what else we got going on in the chat. Big hose and bulky and hard to carry over the shoulder. Yeah, it is on the gauges for sure. That's one of the reasons why I leave it off, and it doesn't match up to the size with the ball valves that I use too. So, reading through the chat, it's like we got a lot of great people. Rick from HVACR Survival's in here. I know that we no commitments to anything yet, but I know that Rick and I want to both go to the symposium in January. So we both want to try. So it'd be cool if we get to hang out again. So, and hopefully if we are, then if some of you guys are in Florida again, we'll definitely do some sort of a meetup. We did one at the last symposium, and it wasn't just people there to meet me. What it ended up being was we started inviting everybody from the symposium, and then it just kind of turned into an after party for the symposium at a really cool restaurant where we hung out for a couple hours. Everybody was talking, and there was people that weren't even at the symposium at that event. So it was really cool. And we'll probably do something very, very similar to that. What was the name of that place? It was in Winter Garden. I know that. And it was like a brewery or something like that. It was really cool. All right. I'm sure Will chime in and say what it was. Kenneth Napier says that he wonders if viewers understand how much time it takes to put videos together. You know, they probably don't. And that's something that I don't talk about very much, but it actually is pretty crazy. I mean, on average, I think I did the math one time. I typically spend 3 to 4 hours every day working on a video. And that's for me to put out typically 2 videos a week and 1 live stream a week. Between answering emails, and again, I'm very not complaining. I'm very thankful to be in this position. But between answering emails, dealing with merch sales, and making the 2 videos and the 1 live stream a week, it's 3 to 4 hours every day after work, after my normal 8-hour job, 8 to 10-hour job. So, you know, of course, like, for instance, I think I made 2 videos yesterday, 2 whole videos. So I was in my office for like 8 hours, you know, just in one day. but it is something fun, and I do appreciate doing it, but it definitely does consume a lot of time. And to be fair too, I don't really try with this channel. And what I mean by that is I'm not out there, researching analytics and trying to make it grow and all this fancy stuff, and nothing against anybody that it is. Okay. But that's just not my style. Again, I don't want this to become a job. I like this to be fun. So I don't put what a normal business would put into their business. I'm more of a laid back approach to this, and I still spend that much time. So the point I'm making is there's other guys, those channels out there that really try, those guys are putting in even more time, and they have staff working for them and responsibilities, and it's crazy. Okay. But yeah, being a creator is a pretty daunting task. It really is. Let's see what else. Crooked Can. That's right. Crooked Can at Plant Street Market. Yeah, that place was really cool. Let me see what else we got going on in the chat. Yeah, it is January for sure. How do I make commercial install more smooth and a good pace? Jacob, understand. Okay, so I do light commercial refrigeration and air conditioning, and I do a medium amount of installs, I would say. Okay. How do I make them go smooth? It's number one, it's about setting up a plan and having good communication between everybody on the job. Okay. That includes, there's a lot of planning that goes into it. For me, when I explain these things to you, it's weird because I can get an outside view into what I'm doing. But for the most part, when I'm doing this stuff, it doesn't even faze me. Okay. But I'm going to do site surveys. I'm going to do Google Maps. I'm going to do site walks. I'm going to look at the site and plan it out. I'm going to research the equipment. I'm going to know the main installation issues, right? I'm going to research by talking to people and by reading installation operation manuals. Once I do that, then we're going to come up with a plan. Sometimes that plan's just in my head. Sometimes it involves a lot of other people. And then usually on the day of the job, I will pull everybody aside. We'll do a little semi-safety meeting and site plan. And we'll say, this is your job. This is your job. This is what you're going to do. If any of you runs out of things to do and you're not working a critically dangerous part of the job, then you come over and you help what I'm doing, So, and it's just having a big plan and a communication. And I'm also not afraid. I'm not trying to brag here. And of course, I want my business to be different, but I am the best technician at my business, right? I am the person that tries the hardest, but I'm trying to show everybody by example. So yes, I bust my butt. Yes, I am the first person to every job, right? I am there a half an hour, sometimes an hour early to site walk, to get started with nobody else there, to plan the job in my head. So there's a lot of planning and a lot of thought that goes into doing commercial install. So once you do the planning, once you do the thought and you do the research, don't assume that someone else did the research, and don't ever trust supply houses to tell you things are going to work. Do the research yourself. Call the manufacturer, call Carrier, call Lennox, find the cut sheets, go to their websites, download them, verify, ask for dimensions. When they send you curb drawings and you're doing package units, say, I want a cutaway of the curb so I can visually measure it and sign off on it, and I find problems. So I'm immersing myself in the job. So, in order for commercial installs to go smooth, someone has to be the point man and someone has to take charge. And it doesn't always necessarily have to be the owner, but someone has to be in charge and be able to smoothly communicate to everybody. Let's see. And also too, on commercial jobs, whenever I do a job, I myself always reflect and I let my employees know, and we talk about how the job went. We do a debrief and we say, hey, I really liked how you did this. Hey, you know what? We need to work on your skills doing this, and we have communication. And then I ask them, give me feedback. How can I help you better? Is it, am I too demanding? Do you not have the tools? We try to help them as much as possible. So again, we treat this like a family. So, what is the highest paying segment in HVACR? Dave M. Dude, I'm sure that there's some HVACR technicians working on the engineering side making 6+ high end, maybe 7 figures. There's some people out there making some serious money. But that's not very common. I'd say in the Southern California region, if you're getting into controls, heavy industrial and supermarket stuff, you're going to be at the top of the trade. And those people right now can be, depending on, it's a pretty broad range. You can be anywhere from $35 an hour to well over hundreds of dollars an hour in certain parts of California. So it's going to change regionally, and it's going to be very, different. Let's see. Randall asks what to do. Ooh, this is a great question. Okay, so Randall, you kind of hit on a subject, and I'm going to say, and I'm going to be honest with you guys, there's some things that I don't show in videos because I can't show them to the general public. I have to set certain examples in my videos. And also, I do want to address the fact that in the beginning, before the live stream, there was an interesting conversation going on. A very unfortunate conversation about an apprentice that just passed away with someone that was in the chat early on. And, you know, there's something that I don't do enough of, and I need to do more of, and I feel a responsibility, and that's to show more electrical safety. Okay. Unfortunately, someone lost their lives because of an electrical accident. And it just kind of makes me really kind of think, you know, I'm not perfect. Again, in these videos, I don't really, they're not intended to be an educational resource. They're literally entertainment in the way that I see them, because it's just the way that my brain works. You know, I talk to myself when I work. That's why they come out so effortless. It's because I'm literally talking to myself even if the camera's off, okay? And that's how I troubleshoot and I rationalize and I you know, quiz myself and do different things. But I can't show some things on my channel, right? And we need to show more safety too, though, at the same time. So I'm going to try to do a better job of showing the safety stuff, okay? So Randall asks, what if a micro-channel coil is severely impacted with grease? Okay, so one of the things that I can't show on my channel is what I have to do to clean a micro-channel coil that is impacted with grease. Now, impacted literally means that the next step is replacement, okay? Understand that. Number two, you need to get this approved by the customers, okay? But if you have severely impacted, like totally bad, and I have some of them out there, you have to use the wrong coil cleaners, but the customer needs to sign off on it and they have to understand. You're telling them, I mean, this is literally the last resort before replacing that. They need to do some serious construction remodels. We have to do our due diligence and say, we're going to do this, but you guys have to remedy this situation after this. That, or you need to sign off that you understand that this cleaner is not meant for this condenser coil, okay? So I won't really show that on video, but sometimes you have to use the wrong coil cleaners and strip the aluminum coating off. But here's the thing, is that the wrong coil cleaner will disintegrate the aluminum, and eventually it's going to get to a point where there's going to be refrigerant leaks. So that's the point why I'm saying the customer has to be involved in this decision-making process. But there is some that I have to use the wrong coil cleaner. But before I get to that point, we're going to use you know, a double dose of the Hvacr HD cleaner. Now, oftentimes the Hvacr HD cleaner, which is microchannel safe, that's the yellow cleaner. It's either yellow venom pack or the yellow HD bottle. That stuff is a proprietary mix of soap and water, okay? And it does a good job of stripping grease. But if you have severely impacted, that's just complete customer abuse. Sometimes that doesn't even work. So you try all the proper steps, pressure washers, high temperature water, the proper coil cleaner. And if that doesn't work, then I make recommendations to the customer and we'll have to go in there. And it's literally, you know, it's literally just a gamble, you know? So I already discussed that. Let me see what else is going on in here. So got another text message coming through. My phone's going off right now. Oh, okay, cool. You know, I can't name these customers. You know, when you guys see weird things where you want to know the name of the customer, when you want to know the name of the company that did the job incorrectly, I can't go out there naming them, okay? I'm already doing too much and showing too much that could set me up for a failure. I'm not going to go out and name a company, okay? Because just because I have video after they've left of something doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be convicted of something, and could easily end up in an issue where I get in trouble for it, okay? So I'm not naming companies, but the customers, they understand. And, you know, the customers, of course, I can have discussions with them and say, please don't use this company anymore. This is dangerous, this kind of stuff. Yeah, I'll do that. But I'm not naming it to the general public. Heck no. Cross that one off the list. Health inspectors. I do want to say this, that the general health inspectors at the restaurants in my area, they need help, and they need some better direction, because, you know, and while I say that a lot of restaurants have issues and it's how they remedy them, but, you know, restaurants can be run by management sometimes that doesn't convey to the corporate office what needs to be done. So sometimes they can have rogue restaurants that are problematic, and they'll usually go in there and fire the entire team and then restart things and do it proper, and they remedy those issues. So the corporations don't necessarily want bad. Oftentimes it's just rogue managers that are just manipulating things. But you know, health inspectors in general, though, they are a joke in my area, and the health department needs to try harder because there's a lot of things they don't see. And I always joke that I can get any restaurant out there that I ever go in shut down, you know, within at least an hour of me walking in the door because of the things that I could find. If I was a health inspector, they would be shut down. So, you know, health inspectors, they don't really know what to look for. And ice machines in general are probably one of the most ignored areas in my region. Health inspectors do not, across the board, ever open up ice machines. Ever. Ever. The only time that health inspectors will typically see ice machine issues is if someone has the panels off and they can see in just out of coincidence, okay? Health inspectors will look in the bin with a flashlight and that's it, but they can't see up in the machine. So, you know, health inspectors really do need to try harder for sure. I'm sure it's that way all across the country, but all right, let's get to the chat and see what else we got going on in here. You notice the roof lines on the buildings look very familiar to you in my videos, Chris. You know, Mike, it's a very good possibility. And I know that there's a lot of people out there that work in the same restaurants, because when you do chain restaurant work, the restaurants are cookie cutter. It's like track houses, right? So you can kind of tell by looking at one of the videos, you're like, I know where he's at, just from the equipment on the roof, okay? So yeah, there certainly is a lot of people. It's just, you know, my customers actually do know that I film. You know, but we still just, that's one of the reasons why they tolerate it, is because they know that I do a really good job of making sure that places, for the most part, remain anonymous. Okay. So, and the restaurants, a lot of the ones that I do, you know, they realize the value in this because, you know, if I do a good job fixing something in one of their cookie cutter restaurants, it makes sense to the rest of the country, right? That works on those same restaurants. So, as long as we're careful about this, you know, this is beneficial for the restaurants because I do chain restaurant work and, you know, people can learn from my mistakes and grow from it. So, yeah. All right, let's see what else we got going on in the chat. When you do a dining room ice machine, you try to keep the cover on. Yeah, you know, I typically don't like to work on ice machines. Like I just had a restaurant where they had an ice machine that they just put in their dining room, and which is silly. And I won't work there during the day because I just don't. It's actually a hazard. You know, I mean, there's potential that the customers are going to get hurt from my cart with my tools, and a little kid's going to walk up and grab something out of my cart he shouldn't. You know, it's just not a good thing. But then on top of that, it sucks too, and you don't want to open that up and have customers see it, and you know, just whatever. So yeah, it's just good practice not to work on ice machines in front of customers for sure. So. Have I had a service of multiple duct detectors tripped? Yeah, John Deere fan. I mean, it's a pretty common thing, actually, because a lot of times duct detectors, smoke duct detectors, are set up in a way that they're daisy chained together. They have communication. Kind of, most of them are dumb communication, but, you know, if one smoke detector trips, then it sends a signal to the other one, and they all trip. So that's a very common thing. So yeah, you'll get a call, you know, all the smoke detectors are tripped, and it's usually only one that's tripped. So you'll go to a test and reset station and reset that one station and go figure out why it tripped. So, all right, well, it is time because I actually am going to go out to dinner with my family tonight. So I am going to wrap this up. I do want to say that I really appreciate that everybody that actually made it and hung in there. I know the video probably sucked tonight. So thank you so very much for tolerating that. I really do appreciate you all. If I missed anything you needed me to cover, please feel free to send me an email to hvacrvideos@gmail.com, and we will catch you on the next one. Yes. Yes, he is here. Come here, buddy. Come here. Come here. Look at this guy. Come here. There he goes. Oh, he's got a towel. Where'd you get a towel from? Look at this guy. Come here. Come here. Yep. All right, that's my buddy Luke. So, all right, I really do appreciate